Good morning. My name is Tom, and this is Three Basket Living, the channel. I like to encourage people not to put all their eggs in one basket by having forms of redundancy in food, water, shelter, and security. That's what we try to do out here. Anyway, today I want to share with you, and I'm hoping that you will share with me as well. I know it's my job to do the sharing. But if you don't know right now, I live in pretty heavy, dense woods. I'm on a hillside here in the Ozarks, a lot of rock, a lot of clay, cedar, the whole 9 yards. Well, I am on the grid. I have electricity being supplied to my cabin. Right behind me here, you should see my meter box. I have 4 poles that come off the county road and up to my cabin. So what had happened is this winter, which is typical about every 5 to 10 years, the power company comes through or contracts out for them to come and clear the power lines. And they have done so, and when they do, they kind of make a mess. They take out all the trees from underneath the power lines, and I had some pretty healthy trees. Anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 1 inch saplings coming up, probably 6 to 8 feet tall, to 2 inches up to 6 inch diameter trees coming up into the power lines. So that has all been cleared out, and when they do so, they just cut them down at ground level, actually about 2 inches above the ground. They leave all the stumps in place and stuff like that. But what I want to do is, because I am so limited on my open space, because I like living in the woods, but I do need some little clearing here and there to be able to grow things. What I want to do is I want to make an attempt, and I want to utilize this space underneath the power lines because it's all cleared out now. That's a good and that's bad. Let me get up and show you. If you look down closely, you'll see a little glimpse of the county road down there. You might see one post on my gate. So that is the bottom of my property coming off the county road there. And there's the meter box. We pan around here. There's Henry doing his job there. And when we look around here, right behind me is the cabin area. So we pan back around. The bad part about this, coming in here and clearing this place out, I'm standing on this rock now, but I can see all the way down to the county road. That's a couple 100 yards away. And if I can see down there, if you're standing down there, you can see up here, and I don't like that. I like living in the woods, I like my privacy, and I like my concealment. So that's the bad part. I don't like this. But the good part is, or I'm going to try to make good out of it, is that I have some open space here underneath these power lines, and this is my property, and I can do what I want with it, even underneath the power lines, and you could probably do the same, so long as whatever I do underneath here and plant under here doesn't pose a threat to these power lines. My power company doesn't care, and maybe yours doesn't either if you're in this kind of situation. And the other thing is, I have to allow them to come through every 5 to 10 years, which is about what they do around here, to have access to do what they did just this winter with that big articulated boom saw and cut all them limbs down away from the power lines. They're going to do so typically 15 to 20 feet on each side of the power lines. In order for me to take advantage of this, I got to take into consideration a few things. Number one, I got to think about all the work and effort that I put into this. If I want to do some planting under here, under these power lines, I have to think about in 5 years, me opening the gate, which I need to do and allow them to do their job, them coming in there with that big machinery and destroying everything that I do in here. And I have been thinking about this all night long and this morning. And how am I going to do that? How am I going to take advantage of this and still give them the access needed to clear these trees? Because they're going to continue to grow toward those power lines because they're going to be looking for sunlight. Well, I think I got a plan and how I'm going to do that. What I have done yesterday and the day before is I've come through here and I've dug up all the root balls that I possibly could. I still have a lot of roots coming up above ground. A lot of them are loose and I'll just be able to pull them. But the ones that are not, I'll just come through with my hand loppers and do the rest. I've also, what I did is I come through here with my box blade and I tried to smooth all this out. So now when I get done doing the hand lopping of all the rest of the smaller roots that I want to take out of here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rake and I'm going to rake everything kind of downhill. We are looking downhill and it's sloping from your right to the left as well. I'm going to come in here with the rake and I'm going to rake what I can, and I'm going to try to form a little berm on this low side of this slope all the way down. I'll do what I can. If I have to, I may do like I did in the garden area and bring cedar logs in here to help reduce or minimize the washing away of this ground soil that's remaining on top here, which is very little, but I got a fix for that. So we get down here, we see this berm. This is all the stumps and roots that I have pulled out of here and some large rock. So you can see how I got this visibility up there. What am I going to do here? This is my plan. And I am definitely open to any suggestions when I explain this plan of mine. If you have any, please let me know. I'll highly consider it, especially if it's before I get done here. Next plan here, after I get done with the raking and finish some fine tuning of cleanup in here, is I'm going to bring about 2 to 3 inches of compost. I've got it. I do a lot of compost. If you don't know, you can take a look at some videos. I do compost in just about everywhere around here. I got a lot of compost. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 inches of compost laid on top here. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start doing this in sections, and I'll explain myself here. I'm going to put in probably about a 15-inch box section here. Down here towards the driveway or close to it or toward the edge here. And I'm going to put in about 4, 6, maybe 8 goji berry bushes that are probably going to be planted somewhere along the lines of about 5 or 6 feet apart. The reason I'm going to go with goji berries is, number one, I like goji berries. They are a wonderful berry. They're an ancient berry, been around for centuries, and they're highly valuable and extremely powerhouse type berry full of antioxidants, and I like them, dried or fresh. But the other thing about the goji berries is that they will grow somewhere between 6 and 8 feet tall, from my understanding. Well, that's going to create a nice tall vegetation from the county road all the way up to the cabin here. It's going to put that vegetation in here and stop that line of sight, you know, that I don't like so much. But I don't want this equipment coming in 5 or 10 years and destroying my bushes. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to go to the next section. I'm going to create another box section here, and I'm going to plant something like comfrey and just load it down with marigolds. The marigolds I'm going to do, one, is because they're hardy. They're a hardy plant, and they'll come back every year, and they produce just tons of seed. The other thing is it's going to provide some color up through here, which I'm sure the little lady is going to be appreciative of that. And it's also going to help by taking roots in there. They're good for controlling erosion. Not to mention they're going to bring in, you know, or attract more bees. The other thing is that the deer don't care for the marigold too much. They leave them alone around here. And it goes the same with the comfrey. I'm going to do the comfrey because we utilize comfrey a bit, quite a bit anyway, making comfrey salves and making my homemade liquid fertilizer for plants around here. So I'm going to load this down with comfrey and marigold on the next section, probably about 15 foot wide. So lastly, why I'm going to utilize something like that in this next section is because that equipment can come up this driveway and he can drive right on top of that marigold and comfrey, clear these power lines above, and once he gets up here, all he has to do without destroying my goji berries off to the left here is he can boom to the left and he can do all the clearing down through here that he wants. Them things reach out quite a bit of distance. I don't know how far, but they got a lot of reach to them. And then he can boom up to the right and do the same thing. And those marigolds and comfrey, even if you drive on them, they're going to recuperate. They're going to come back and they're going to be just fine. So that's why I'm going to do that. And then I'll do another 18 foot section up here, and I'll probably do some more goji berries because I want a lot of goji berries. I love them things and they're just highly beneficial. I'll do another 15 foot section here, and then on the uphill side of that I'll come up here and I'll plant some more comfrey and marigolds. I mean, a lot of them, especially the marigolds. And all this is going to help me to control some of this erosion once I get them established, especially. And it's going to allow that big articulated machine to just drive on top of those comfrey and marigold, boom left and right, downhill here and uphill, and do his clearing. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plant these sections up here. We got all kinds of blackberries around here, but I think I want to try the thornless blackberries and give that a go. So if my plan works out, I'll think I'll benefit because I'm going to get to utilize my property underneath these power lines and do so in a way to where everything I plant is not going to be a threat to the power lines, and it's still going to allow access, you know, by allowing that machine to drive over the flowers like marigold and comfrey without harming the food, edible fruits that I plan on putting up through here, taking advantage of this openness up through here. So that's my plan all down through here. So maybe this spring and summer you'll get to see some of that develop and come into play along with everything else I got going on around here. I'm gonna just take advantage and do some power line gardening, I guess I'm gonna call it, and take advantage of that space, which is my space, and not let it go to waste, and create all the vegetation down through there so I can maintain my privacy and run around here butt naked like I like to do a lot of times. You know, it's pretty freeing. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it, especially if there's something you're thinking that I haven't discussed or thought about myself. You guys have been great in giving some thoughts and opinions out there already, and I certainly appreciate it. Maybe this is an option for a few folks out there to take advantage of with the power lines that you have come across your wooded property as well. Hope you got something out of it. Have a nice day. May all your branches become full of fruit, and I'll see you next time, folks. Hoorah!